Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Forceful Athletics. My name is Bram, and today I wanted to kick off a new video format on the channel, which is basically just gonna be a series of hiking videos. I'm gonna pick a topic which I feel is relevant for Enforcer, and I'm gonna go on a walk and talk about it, which is fairly simple. Brings me right into today's topic, which is the biggest mistakes that I have made over the past few years and how my overthinking has led to me not taking appropriate action and really stagnating in several areas of my life. And with this video format, I wanted to kind of prove to myself that all I had to do was start and just stay consistent, even with suboptimal circumstances, which, I know it sounds kind of profound, but I'll get into why that actually makes perfect sense and is not vague at all. So, as some of you may or may not know, it has actually taken me years to get to this point of relaunching Enforcer, be back to making videos, etc. Because, as maybe also not all of you may know, Enforcer was originally actually supposed to launch in 2020 as Enforcer Nutrition. I had a business partner back then, but our visions didn't align and he ended up pulling the plug. So then it was up to me to rebrand and revive Enforcer. And I did. I rebranded it to Enforcer Athletics. I actually already registered the website for Enforcer Athletics less than a year after we disbanded in 2021. And yeah, from that point, there was just not a lot that happened over those next couple years. I did upload some lost videos on another channel, which I've since taken down. But yeah, in those 3-4 years, I had basically just come to a complete halt. I had completely stagnated in pretty much all areas of my life, with Enforcer as well as with my training. When I was 19, I actually pulled my first 700-pound deadlift. And, that was with mediocre training and, mediocre diet, Lifetime Natural at that point. And it's actually not up until a couple of months ago that I was able to get up back past that. And I'm 22 now, 23 by the time this video goes online. So yeah, that just really kind of puts into perspective for me how much, or actually, let's say how little direction I had over those last couple of years. And I've always had my goals. I've always had the drive to pursue them. I guess it just really comes down to poor execution. And I've always allowed my overthinking to kind of force me into a decision-making and action-taking paralysis, if you will. Let's see, where was I in my story? Holy shit. Which has ultimately led to my training becoming stagnant. I lost motivation to train. And there was a point where I was just really depressed. I've been there several times, but in this situation where I just wasn't doing anything constructive at all besides training. And even that wasn't getting me anywhere, you know, which, you know, that starts to work really demoralizing. But I wasn't changing what was clearly holding me back, you know, because I was overthinking and I was just scared to make the wrong decision in doing so. You know, which that is just the main reason, you know, really overthinking is the main reason that I pretty much haven't progressed at all over the past couple of years in my life. Roughly up until I started dating my girlfriend, I started making somewhat competent decisions again. You know, oh, guys, I'm sorry, I have to switch shoulders. I feel like an old man, my shoulders hurt. Yeah, and you know, but I feel as though I was missing the person to give me the proper guidance and, you know, some more purpose, you know, to change my ways in that aspect. Even though I've always wanted that and I've always felt that I wanted to. No, it's never been me being just lazy or uninspired. It's me trying to do the right thing, not knowing how, which just leads to kind of vicious cycle of frustration and stagnation. And it's really not up until I started dating my girlfriend that, you know, I started bringing some structure back into my training, or actually bring any structure at all into my training, bring any structure at all into my diet, which I've also struggled with for years, just not knowing how the fuck to figure that out. You know, she helped me with that a lot. You know, I pulled the slack out of Enforcer, and, you know, that is actually the point where I decided to get my coaching papers, which, you know, that all ultimately has led us to this point, you know, and, you know, I mean, this video being online, having successfully relaunched Enforcer and having made Enforcer Athletics a reality finally, and finally seeing some progression back into my training, preparing for next year's nationals, is just huge for me. You know, it might not seem that big of a deal, but for me, having gotten to this point from where I've been the past couple of years is just enormous. And you know, I think, so in theory, if I'm sorry, this fucking dickhead is passing over. Right. So in theory, if I were to get a coaching client that is in a comparable situation to me those 3-4 years ago, I feel as though I would successfully be able to get them in the position I am in now at least 1 year to 2 years faster. And, you know, for me, had I been able to accomplish where I am now 1 year to 2 years faster, would be huge. That would be enormous. And, you know, on one hand, it's really easy for me to sit here and critique my past self for not making the right decisions. But I guess there's also a flip side to the coin where maybe had I, you know, been at this point in my life, those 1 to 2 years faster, maybe I wouldn't have met my girlfriend, who, as I also already said, means more to me than anything, and just plays a massive role in me having gotten to this point and just finally progressing again in life. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about today. If you feel that you've gotten something out of this video, it would be massively appreciated if you helped us out, supported us by subscribing to our channel, joining the Enforcer community, and leaving a like on this video. And if you've had something holding you back in the past couple of years, working towards your goals, feel free to share that story in the comments, and whether or not you have solved it, and if so, how, so that perhaps you can inspire others with your story, like I'm trying to inspire people by making this video. And there's one more thing I wanted to say. This has nothing to do with today's topic. I just felt as though I wanted to put this out there as a show of respect. Today, and I'm talking the day that this video was recorded, obviously. As I already said, this video is going to probably come online a couple of weeks after we recorded it, because we are currently working on getting a little bit of a buffer of videos going, so that once we start uploading, we can actually, keep consistently putting out content for you guys. But yeah, so today one of my training partners passed away. Kelly. She was a mother of 3, leaving behind a young husband, and she was only 40 years old. And yeah, it's just terrible. That's no age to go. So rest in power, Kelly. I will see you guys in the next video, and if you'd be so kind, leave a prayer for Kelly and her family.